Hariom, Namo Narayan, Namaste. Everybody, I'm Swami Manamurti Saraswati, David G. Little, and now I'm going to go through week 5 of series 2, Transmission Science series. So with week 5, the week 5 lecture is on coherent states and field stability. The abstract is as follows. This lecture examines coherent states, the stable non-conceptual information states that form the perceptual environment for transmission. Coherence is the structural condition that allows the human system to receive, stabilize, and integrate transmission. This manuscript outlines the architecture of coherence, the mechanisms of field stability, and the developmental consequences of entering coherent states. Integrated case studies, including the 1988 balcony transmission and the 1986 pre-coherence opening, illustrate how coherence emerges in real transmission context. 1. Introduction. Transmission cannot occur in a chaotic system. It requires stability, openness, non-conceptual awareness, reduced identity dominance, mid-layer activation. These conditions collectively form what the QEEU canon calls a coherent state. A coherent state is non-meditation, non-relaxation, non-concentration, non-trance. Coherence. It is a structural alignment of the human system that allows field-level information to be perceived and integrated. In Series 1, we introduced coherence as part of the vertical stack analogy. In Series 2, we examine coherence as the environment in which transmission occurs. 2. The architecture of coherence. A coherent state is defined as a stable, non-conceptual information state in which the layers of the human system align sufficiently to allow field-level perception. Coherence as 3 structural components. 2.1. Layer alignment. The cognitive, emotional, perceptual, and identity layers align. This alignment reduces internal noise. Two point two. Excuse me. 2.2. Mid-layer stability. The mid-layer becomes stable enough excuse me, 2.2. Mid-layer stability. The mid-layer becomes stable enough to receive transmission. This is the core mechanism of coherence. 2.3. Field resonance. The system enters resonance with the transmission field. This resonance, is not verbal and non-conceptual. Coherence is not something the system does. It is something that the system enters. 3. Coherence versus non-coherence. To understand coherence, it is useful to contrast it with non-coherence. 3.1. Non-coherence. Non-coherence is characterized by narrative dominance, emotional turbulence, cognitive overactivity, perceptual fragmentation, and identity rigidity. In non-coherence, transmission cannot be perceived. 3.2. Coherence. Coherence is characterized by reduced narrative activity, emotional stability, cognitive quietness, perceptual widening, identity permeability, and mid-layer activation. In coherence, transmission becomes perceptible. 4. Case study 1986 pre-coherence opening. The 1986 event was my first major coherence opening. It was not a transmission event, but a pre-coherence state. I'll be doing a live stream next week on Guru Purnima when I'll talk about this. 4.1. The event. During a period of intense internal pressure, the system entered a widened perceptual field, a reduced narrative dominance, and a heightened awareness and a non-conceptual clarity. 4.2. Coherence dynamics. This event demonstrated mid-identity permeability, early mid-layer activation, early field sensitivity. It prepared the system for the 1988 transmission when I met Swami Satyananda, my guru. 4.3. Developmental significance. In the 1986 event was the first structural alignment of the system. It marked the beginning of my coherence trajectory. 5. Case study, the 1988 balcony transmission. The 1988 balcony event is one of the clearest examples of a full coherence state. 5.1. The event. Sitting on the level 6 balcony, the Kengadarshan, BR School of Yoga, in front of Swami Satyananda, I experienced a sudden field level contact, a coherence beam entering my system, a complete identity dissolution, and a non-conceptual awareness. 5.2. Coherence state characteristics. During the event, the cognitive layer quietened, the emotional layer stabilized, the identity layer dissolved, the mid-layer opened, the system entered resonance. This is the exact signature of a coherent state. 5.3. Field stability. The field remained stable throughout the event. This stability allowed the transmission to enter fully. 6. The mechanisms of coherence. Coherence emerges through 3 mechanisms. 6.1. Reduction of internal noise. Internal noise includes narrative thought, emotional turbulence, cognitive overactivity. When noise reduces, coherence emerges. 6.2. Layer synchronization. The layers of the system synchronize. This synchronization creates stability. 6.3, field resonance. The system resonates with the transmission field. This transmission resonance is the hallmark of coherence. 7, field stability. Field stability refers to the consistency of the transmission field during a coherence event. 7.1, internal stability. The system must remain open, receptive, and non-reactive. 7.2. External stability. The environment must be quiet, non-disruptive, and energetically neutral. 7.3. Transmission stability. The transmission must be coherent, consistent, and non-fluctuating. Field stability is essential for transmission. 8. Coherence and mid-layer gateway. Coherence is the environment in which the mid-layer operates. 8.1. Mid-layer activation. The mid-layer becomes active in coherence. 8.2. Mid-layer stability. Mid-layer stabilizes in coherence. 8.3. Mid-layer reception. Mid-layer receives transmission in coherence. This is why week 4 precedes week 5. 9. Developmental effects of coherence. Coherence has long-term developmental effects. 9.1 increases permeability. Identity becomes more permeable. 9.2, increased sensitivity. The system becomes more sensitive to coherence. 9.3, increased stability. The system becomes more stable in non-conceptual states. 9.4, increased receptivity. Transmission becomes easier to receive. These effects accumulate over time. 10. Conclusion. Coherent states are the structural environment in which transmission occurs. They arise when the layers of the human system align. The mid-layer becomes active and the system enters resonance with the transmission field. Very important, field. This lecture has shown the architecture of coherence, the mechanisms of field stability, the roles of identity permeability, the dynamics of mid-layer activation, the case studies demonstrating coherent states. Coherence is the foundation of transmission state cognition. Next week, we move to transmission state cognition, the perceptual mode that emerges when coherence stabilizes. Key terms: coherent state is a stable, non-conceptual information state. Field stability is the consistency of the transmission field. Mid-layer gateway is the interface for transmission reception. Identity permeability is the reduced narrative dominance. Transmission state cognition is the non-conceptual perception. Cross references. Week 1, the transmission field. Week 3, identity processor and permeability. Week 4, the mid-layer gateway. Thank you, everybody, for being with me in week 5. Namo Narayan. Namaste. Hari Om.